We've never had a Lent like this before and are probably not likely to, but in some ways, what we're experiencing is probably closer to the experience Jesus himself had in his, we might even call it personal Lent, the 40 days in which he fasted and prayed in the wilderness, isolated with the wild beast. You know, I've been thinking of ways to compare this to anything we've experienced before, and one thing that comes to mind is something like being in a blizzard where you can't go outside, and yet it's not a real blizzard, but in many ways we feel just as isolated. So we are inclined to want to stay at home, and that's a good place to be if home is a safe place, and I hope it is. But let's remember one thing, that ultimately, in the final analysis, God is our home. And that is what Jesus experienced in the desert. He had nothing, no support systems. He was alone with the wild elements. He was tempted by the devil in every way, as many of us may feel right now too. There's so many temptations to anger, to frustration, even to panic. Those are not always bad things, because it's a natural reaction in the face of unknown danger to react in some way. So we shouldn't be afraid to share our feelings with one another. But who did Jesus share his feelings with, isolated as he was? I'm thinking of a call I just had the other day from a person who was isolated in a hospital in the process of waiting to get tested for the coronavirus. And nobody's able to visit this person. And how do we reach out to somebody like that? So I'm encouraging parishes, and if you know somebody that is being hospitalized or being tested, to try to keep up that contact, at least give them a call or something. So back to Jesus. He's in the desert, but he's never really alone, because he was led there by the Holy Spirit. In fact, St. Mark even says he was pushed, he was driven into the desert by the Holy Spirit. What am I saying? Am I saying God is putting us through this? No. But what I am saying is that if the Lord, in some way, in his providence, allows us to be alive at this time, it must be for a purpose. It must be to bring something out of this that God can somehow or other build on. It might be just to help us to grow deeper in our faith about what is deeply important.